Dratso. We are quickly reaching the point where a time for denouement is becoming possible. The Alliance, including our Earth allies, realizes just how close we are to the very brink of our long-sought goal. The various groups of our Earth allies are finally coming to understand that this world's plight needs to be accommodated. As consciousness rises in this realm, the financial system changes and the new prosperity must be revealed. The time is coming for these changes to be manifested and explained to you. The prosperity plan is merely an instrument through which to achieve your dreams. Use these symbols of power to remake your world into a realm of peace and harmony. As Gaia moves toward her new reality, never forget who you are and that you are becoming one. Never before has Earth's surface humanity been able to contemplate the blessing of freeing itself of all the ills that have plagued it since the Great Flood of almost 10 millennia ago. You are to quickly develop a new perspective that can allow you to use your growing consciousness to alter every culture on the surface of Gaia. This new global interfusion of humanity is to set the stage for our arrival. Finally, you can stop believing the cabal's outright lies, and government can bring a formal end to the UFO cover-up and prepare you for our coming. This is to allow us to transmit a series of broadcasts so you can know the truth about our existence. Your governance needs to become an open transition between what is best for you, open governance, and your fully conscious future. Government originally was the province of the privileged. In your society, money talks. It is the means by which the oligarchy, the few very wealthy families, control and manage elections and legislatures. But this arrangement cannot legitimately support public policy. Government must be opened up to all. This is the reason for Nisara Gesara. We support it simply because any aging and non-responsive system is in need of massive restructuring. An overhaul such as this can restore that system back to its original principles. This is where Nisara Gesara now stands, near the brink of being manifested. It is unfortunate that contact has taken so long to come about. Among us, your struggles are legendary. You are in the midst of challenging transformations to all your energy systems. Moreover, to undergo these changes during such trying world events is not usual during a first contact. It is also most unusual for us to sit on the sidelines and monitor developments. Heaven tells us that you are special, and we heartily concur. Long ago, many events transpired that left you much diminished in mind and body, and disconnected from spirit. This moment is about returning you to your previous state of being. It is our goal to use first contact to complete the operation. Introducing you to your mentors will be a pivotal event. Until then, we are to assist the Alliance and advise them on their preparations, as the changes are to occur in rapid-fire sequence that demands the most precise responses. It is imperative that you practice love and invoke the wisdom of the light. Namaste. We are your ascended masters. We would like to begin this message by expressing all-encompassing gratitude to all starships and lightworkers. We are watching you very closely as we witness a new level of consciousness taking hold worldwide. We are excited to see how you are adapting to this new and more thoughtful reality. The energies that continue to flow onto your planet are assisting you and the general public with the quickening of consciousness. You are becoming more aware of how spirit orchestrates your ascension. Maintain your rituals, for they are essential tools for working more effectively with spirit and assist you in staying focused on your goals. Your journey out of limited consciousness is not an easy one. Your reality is changing in veritable leaps and bounds. The dark ones are scrambling, desperate to find a way to halt the light. In this changing realm, we are witnessing tentative peace talks that, until now, had been considered folly. This new coalition of light, the Alliance, is creating the conditions to bring about the downfall of those who, in the name of the dark, formerly obstructed or delayed your rise in consciousness. We masters are heartened by what is manifesting around your world. As the dark's options diminish, it is increasingly clear who will be victorious. We also thank the Galactic Federation, without whose assistance the Alliance would be unable to bring your prosperity to fruition. Each day we bless what is manifesting on this wondrous orb. Your positive energies are making a difference. Together with those of the Galactic Federation, they are preparing monies to be distributed, new financial systems to form, and new governance to be disclosed. Collectively, we are a team maintaining a vision of bringing in your new galactic reality. We are teetering on the threshold of a long-awaited golden age when peace, freedom and prosperity reign. Hosanna! Hosanna! Today, we brought you another message. We are eager to keep you informed about our perspective on the events of the day. We trust you to use this information to better understand what is destined to unfold around your world. Know, dear ones, that the countless supply and never-ending prosperity of heaven are indeed yours. So be it. Selamat Gajan, Selamat Ya, Syrian for B1. And be enjoy. What does it mean to make the fifth dimensional real? In fact, what does real mean? One of the challenges of being human within confusing now is that the definition of real seems to change daily. What is real? And what is truth? Seems to change every day and with every thought and emotion. What is actually occurring is that we are in the process of preparing our Earth vessel to resonate to the frequency of the fifth dimension and beyond. It is only when our consciousness has expanded to resonate to at least some awareness and communication with the higher dimensions of our reality, that the third dimensional vessels which encompass your true fifth dimensional self will be able to remember. This remembering can come in the version of a dream, a meditation, or any peak experience in which your consciousness can resonate to the frequency of the higher fourth, and/or the fifth dimension. Whenever your consciousness resonates to the fifth dimension and beyond, even if just for a brief moment, you will be able to experience the fifth dimensional now. Once you are free of the time-space format of the third and fourth dimensional states of consciousness, you will be able to remember what you always knew, but forgot. When we say always knew, we mean that your higher dimensional expressions of self which you have who resonates beyond the third fourth dimensional time and space, you will no longer be limited to the logical, sequential format of third dimensional communication. When you are free of that limitation, you will be more able to perceive our ships that are constantly visiting your planet within their innate, fifth dimensional frequency of reality. The reason why humanity does not see the fifth dimension is for several reasons. For one reason, people usually choose to not perceive what they do not believe in because it frightens them. There are already enough frightening things in the third dimension, especially now within the extreme changes of your planet and daily life. Of course, some humans do not perceive these changes because they do not want to perceive them. They are not ready to believe that there is a civilization that is much more evolved than them, and/or a reality which they can not control. Because the third dimension presents many challenges, especially within your now, many people have hid their head under the covers and refuse to perceive the myriad changes that are occurring with Gaia planet and weather system. Oh, it is just a phase, they say to comfort themselves. However, dear planet Gaia can no longer withstand the great damage that humanity has created on her planet. Therefore, Gaia herself has called us, the fifth dimensional, and beyond, galactics to assist her in her time of great need. There are of course many wonderful humans who have dedicated their lives to planet Gaia, her nature, her people, and have come to realize that Mother Earth Gaia, as the galactics call her, is gravely damaged. Furthermore, a huge percentage of that damage can be traced back to humanity. It is for this reason that, we your galactic family, have been called on to assist Gaia with her planetary ascension. We say planetary ascension as all who have intertwined their personal energy field with Gaia, such as the animals, plants and elementals, and even humans who have evolved their consciousness enough to perceive Gaia as a living being, are ready to release the training wheels of the 3D matrix. The 3D matrix was created so that lower dimensional beings would have a learning planet on which they could incarnate in order to learn about, practices and participate in the process of planetary ascension. Over the many centuries of which you are aware, it was known that great human leaders, who sacrificed themselves for the good humanity and for Gaia, underwent huge initiations to gain complete control of their physical form so that they could choose to leave that physical body die and expand their consciousness, and thus their form, into the fifth dimension and beyond. This expansion of consciousness was never for selfish purposes, because it is the process of serving others that allows their consciousness to expand, return to their innate fifth dimensional and beyond self. This self was called their higher self. At first, the grounded ones sought to unite with their higher self, whom they know was a higher frequency of the physical form that they were wearing. However, over time, they forgot who they really were, and they forgot why they chose to take on an Earth vessel on a planet that would likely face huge challenges during that incarnation. Because they forgot who they were and why they took an Earth vessel, they also forgot the reason that they came to Earth was to assist with planetary ascension. Worse yet, many of these brave warriors chose difficult childhoods so that they could learn more about the challenges of being a third-dimensional Earthling, as they called them. They had never experienced a traumatic and/or abusive childhood on their homeworld. In fact, many of them ever experienced a childhood because they chose to place their essence consciousness into a mature being. In that manner, they could get right to work on their assignment. Therefore, when they came to Earth and had one of the myriad forms of child abuse, poverty, lack of opportunity and/or diseases or birth defects, they had not way of understanding what was occurring, or how they could conquer it. Therefore, they devolved into third-dimensional humans whose consciousness was far too often limited to the perception of only the third dimension. Fortunately, some of them were able to move into a version of fourth-dimensional consciousness in which they could use their imagination to be creative, learn about themselves, their birth family, and the many limitations of third-dimensional life. If they were somehow about to not get lost the third-dimension maze of difficult childhoods, limitation, separations, wars and abandonment, they became very strong and very wise. It was then that they realized that they had passed the fourth-dimensional initiations of life on a third-dimensional planet ruled by separation, time, space, birth, death, suffering, as well as many other challenges. Some volunteers to Earth never returned, but other brave warriors realized that since humans were totally responsible for all the distress of the planet, even the planetary changes, they realized that in order to assist dear Gaia, they would need to incarnate in a human form, often as a child or infant, and become a third-dimensional human. Fortunately for them all, at some point in their 3D life, many of them began to remember that there was much more to reality than that which was displayed by the many illusions of the third dimension. These ones realized that, if they could expand their consciousness into the fourth dimension, they would be able to discover their innate creativity, interdimensional imagination, the joys of nature, of the deep love for Gaia, as well as for many of her beings, which sometimes included humanity. However, they did discover that they would need to study humanity and why so many humans had forgotten their true multidimensional self. In fact, they realized that many of the lost and confused humans were galactics, just like them, who had become lost in the illusions and negative energy fields. In fact, they did not even know what a negative energy field was, as they did not exist on their fifth-dimensional homeworlds, or on their ships. Eventually, we, the members of our starships, began to come into the dreams and meditations of their galactic friends who had volunteered to incarnate on Earth to assist Gaia in her awakening and awaken humans. We say awakening and awake humans, as those who had not expanded their consciousness into the higher fourth or fifth dimension were not able to perceive us. At first, we exposed our ships more often, but we found that all that did was to frighten humans or turn us into the gods. It was not helpful for us to serve as gods or saviors, but we did realize that if we could find a human who was able to go through the many challenges of expanding their consciousness beyond the third and lower fourth dimensions, a member of their humanity could assist them to believe in a form of higher power. We Pleiadians are not a higher power for humanity, but many of us have taken incarnations on Earth to discover the manner in which we could best assist humanity and remind them that Earth is a living being just as they are. We found that humans enjoyed having an external human who appeared to be above them, but they often worshipped us in some primitive manner rather than listening to our message. The problem was, and still is, that Earth has been primarily ruled by a group of beings from a devolved society in the Sirius system. This devolved society lost its way, and rather than assisting others, they begin to harm others. Unfortunately, rather than following the loving examples of Venus and the Pleiades, too many humans followed the dominating examples of the Sirians. However, the Sirians were not always dominating, but that is a different story. Basically, because the Sirians lost their power within, they repeated what had been done to them and chose to have power over the Ascended Master from Earth. have been higher dimensional beings who have volunteered to come to Earth to assist with planetary ascension. Unfortunately, the humans chosen to only perceive that the ascending individual did something for himself, and forgot the true messages of love and light that these ascending beings presented. We, the Arcturians, as well as the fifth dimensional beings who have chosen to assist Gaia in her time of great need, have come into your consciousness to remind you that unconditional love is the healing force of the multiverse. We are happy to tell you that more and more humans are beginning to remember this fact. However, the humans of Earth have developed a reality in which they put much more attention on the fear of a problem and too often forget to find and focus on the solution of that problem. Also, the Dark Ones have worked very diligently to put inadequate or power over others humans in positions of power. However, please remember that the darkest night is just before dawn. Therefore, sometimes the darkness must reign in order to get humanity out of denial. No one wants to know if their way of is being threatened, or that one that they thought they could trust can only care for themselves. Humanity has too often put their head under the pillow rather than perceive what is actually occurring. Therefore, it is left to the brave and awakened humans, and our galactic family who have taken 3D Earth vessels to assist them, to realize that they do not need to remain in that darkest night because the dawn is here within this now. Please remember that you find what you look for. Therefore, if you just look for problems, and ignore the possible solutions, the problem will remain and the solution will be forgotten. On the other hand, just a moment or two within the fifth dimensional now will expand your consciousness enough to remember your true multidimensional self, as well as the reason why you chose to take a third dimensional form within this now. Once you remember, and walk a mile with your reason for incarnation, you will be able to proceed with the promise that you made before you took a third dimensional form on dear Gaia. Please remember that this promise is within you. Therefore, as you meditate, study, and do whatever makes you remember yourself, you will become yourself in your third dimensional reality. However, even ascended masters could not always be their higher self in daily life. Therefore, be gentle with yourself and allow that you to find your way to remember your true multidimensional self and to be that self as often as is possible. Even your own higher self does not expect that you are perfect. Remember that you chose to be a human so that you could learn how to assist humans, to remember that even humans are multidimensional beings who are brave enough to limit your human self to the third, fourth dimension so that you can better serve Gaia and awaken humanity. Blessings to you all, and we, the members of your galactic family, thank you again and again for the service that you are giving to Gaia and her humanity, the Arcturians and your galactic family.